Yes. Look at that sucker right there, baby. That's better than what I got. Whew.
2019 FLW Tour season is wrapped up. We finished here, Lake Champlain. We have a brand new tour champion, Casey Scanlon. Heck of a week, dude.
It was an awesome week, man. What a lake.
First time here.
First time here, man. It's my new favorite lake. But yeah, that was an awesome week. We were able to come down here and back, and we're right here at the scene of the crime.
We have gorgeous weather, so I think we quit talking. Let's go get snatching.
Let's do it.
All right, Casey, we're down here in Ticonderoga. We saved you the boat ride this morning, which was probably a little refreshing, right?
Absolutely. We've made a lot of trips down here this week.
It sounded like you had two things going on. So what do we have in front of us? This was kind of a way to get a limit in the morning and do a lot of damage?
You know, yeah, this is pretty much my primary area. It's changed every day. It started off, we were catching them here tight to the bank on these rocks, and they've started kind of moving out here in this milfoil. So started here every day and was able to catch some quality fish here, you know, each day. So I kept starting here, and it was good to me all week.
Well, let's get a few axes and see if there's still some swimming around here.
I'm sure there is. Let's do it. Yeah, you know, really right in front of me here. So anywhere is fair game. There's a lot of holes right in through here, but it seemed like they'd get on all the little points and turns. The water's a little bit dirty today, but you know, anywhere it kind of changed a little bit was kind of a key spot.
Gotcha.
And, you know, and I'd alternate cast. I'd pop it out of this grass and then make a cast
Swing
down the
over
bank
here.
there.
Gotcha.
You know, just trying to be slow and thorough through here. But right when we get around the corner here, there's a patch of grass that was really, really good to me. They came up busting some shad there I think first day of the tournament. Late in the day, and I made a couple casts over there, and I caught fish on 3 consecutive casts, and they didn't help me at the time, but I knew it was, got slacked out there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there is, some of the bites were absolutely vicious. A lot of times you could throw back in. And,
how many pike did you catch?
You know, I'd catch a few every day, but not a ton. Lost one chatterbait to a pike the entire tournament. So
that's actually really impressive.
Not bad. And you can see how this makes a little point right here in the grass. How it just kind of V's right there.
Yeah.
Those were kind of some of the key spots. And of course, that's where you got your bite.
Yeah. Where I biffed it hard.
The inside, I'll give you the grass line there.
I mean, if you really want the grass, I'll throw inside. I don't want to cheese you out of your juice.
I want to see you catch one. I've caught a lot of fish here this week, Kyle, so, you know, I'll share a couple with you. Oh, game on.
Like that?
Just like that, right on cue. Now, that one wouldn't have made it to the weigh-in stage,
that
but
is
hey,
adorable.
it's a start.
But I'll tell you what, the impressive thing this week, you know, with a lot of guys fishing down here, was that the largemouth, like you look at this guy, real healthy looking and real fat.
Very
you know, like
fat
we saw a
and
lot
healthy.
of short fish that you'd think weigh 2 and a quarter would weigh like 3 or close to it.
Absolutely, man. These fish down here are butterballs. They're eating good. They've spawned and healed up pretty quickly. So,
yes.
You know, that's the one thing I was worried about coming into this tournament was I knew I wanted to fish for largemouth, but you know, how healthy were they? You know, a lot of times they're leaned out after the spawn, and man, they were all just really pretty healthy fish. So yeah, this 3/8 ounce vibrating jig was definitely my mainstay this week. I'd start with this bait and used it to find the fish. And once I'd catch a few in an area, I'd slow down and fish with the Lucky Strike pow stick, the little soft stick worm, and pick up the crankbait when I could. A lot of this grass isn't very conducive to the crankbait, so I would basically throw this bait around the holes and points in the grass. And when it got caught up, I'd try to, just pop it through. And I'd try to fish it pretty erratically a lot of times. When I'd get it to a hole, I'd, kind of sink it down there and give it a little bit more time to stay in the strike zone. It seemed to be key.
Give me a rundown. You mentioned that on your ChatterBait, you either put like a fluke style trailer or this like swim bait, but like your setup, your line, rod, reel, all that.
Yeah, this is a Bass Pro Shops Titanium 8 rod, and it's just, I don't even think they make this rod anymore, but it's a really good action for this ChatterBait. 7'6", medium heavy, and it's moderate action. It kind of bends further down the blank there. 6/8 to 1 gear ratio, Johnny Moore's Signature Series reel. Reeling the bait pretty slow most of the time. Used the Lucky Swim by Lucky Strike. It's just a soft plastic swim bait trailer, or this fluke style trailer. Both seem to work, so I'd make casts with both of these, and basically whichever one didn't have the trailer torn off or didn't get intercepted by a pike was the one I was throwing at the moment. So I kept switching it up on them. When you're fishing the same area for 4 days in a row, I felt like I just needed to give them some different looks.
Sure.
And it paid off for me. I weighed in fish on several different baits every single day. And each day one seemed to outdo the other, but the one that was pretty consistent and that I had in my hand for a lot of the derby was this vibrating jig right here, 3/8 ounce, 17-pound Bass Pro Shops fluorocarbon, and that was the deal. Just reeling it slow, focusing on these points and irregularities and grass lines, and I was just fortunate to get around them and catch them and make it back this week.
That was the
deal. That was the whole thing that you worry about when you find fish down here is, can I get them back? It sounds easy. Drive down there, catch them, get back, but doing those 3 things on this lake for 4 days in a row.
Absolutely.
It's pretty tough. Yeah, right around this corner here, I was able to pole down, basically on the tips of these points and kind of drift that worm. And the first day I utilized a tube a little bit, but they were really stuck on those points relating to the current the first couple days. And for whatever reason, whether it was the water level backing out or just the fish being on the move, they kind of started getting out on this milfoil, and the inside grass lines were pretty key. But yesterday, for the first time, I started catching a lot of fish on the outside. You can see this grass bed's pretty active.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we just kind of got here where you can see bait flicking around.
That was key the whole week. Most every place I stopped, you could see some kind of activity. Whether it was in practice or during the tournament, there were definitely more activity, I think, in the better grass beds. Ooh.
Did you fish any new water this week, or was everything you fished stuff you dialed in practice?
I fished new water every day. So I kept searching for new places and just running stuff that was similar to what I caught them on.
Okay, you got the pattern in place, and then you just had to run around and look for it.
Yeah, and I was fortunate every day to catch some quality fish early, and it settles you down. And when you have a limit in the box, you're a little bit more willing to experiment. So.
Sure, yeah, definitely.
But that cast that I made right there was just getting smoked the first day of practice, and also the first day of the tournament. And since then, it really hasn't been super great. I've caught a few fish off the points every day until yesterday, but the first day of the tournament, that was the deal. It was just fishing just off of those rocks there on the tips of these points, and you could run up and down the lake and do it. But some of them definitely had better quality than others. And these two right here, there's one right around the corner, and it's the same kind of setup, inside grass line.
Gotcha.
With a little pocket. And I basically chose this spot to start in because not only did I get some bites here, but I had another place real close by. I actually had an awesome day right behind us on a frog, and lost one 5-pounder in the tournament on it, and that was the only bite I got on a frog. So that bite never really developed, but it was fun in practice for sure.
Oh man, I bet.
Here in a couple weeks, I feel like that'll be the deal out here.
Oh yeah.
This stuff will all be topped out real good. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Just gotta pop it off that foil.
Kyle's up 2-0. I need to quit fishing these rocks.
you let me break the ice, you can absolutely have at the foil now.
All right.
So we got some new rods, some new baits, and some new scenery, Casey. Tell us what we got going on here.
Yeah, this is kind of my secondary pattern here. And basically, I was looking for dollar pads and these pencil reeds or taller grass. And anytime I found that combination, whether it was down here in Ty or up north, I was catching a lot of fish. So we got the Trophy Bass Company swim jig. This is a jig that I make and sell. And it's a 1/2 ounce version. I caught them on white in the dirtier water, but most of the damage was done on this black and blue one here.
Okay.
But basically I'd throw it up there, look for holes in this grass, reel it through there. I suspect a lot of these fish were fry garters, spawning fish. You know, a lot of these fish were in the holes, and a lot of times, especially in practice and first couple days of the event, if they would miss this jig, I could throw in there and catch them on a plastic, which kind of led me to believe that they were spawning. So,
Sure.
you know, this is a really good deal. Weighed in fish every single day on this. A lot of the strikes were visual, so it was fun.
Cool.
You'd reel it up over one of these pads or through a hole, and they'd maul it. So the 1/2 ounce seemed to be the one they liked. I threw some other sizes. The lighter sizes went through the cover a lot better, but this one was just getting down in the water column and getting the bites. So,
You know, you're saying that this looks like absolutely gorgeous frog water, but they wouldn't really eat it. So you went to the swim jig, and to me, like first glance, it doesn't look like swim jig water. So tell me like how we're fishing it and kind of why basically.
yeah, I mean, I can cover a lot of ground with this, more so than the frog. And the fish were just reacting to it. This is one of my confidence baits, always have it tied on. And you know, it works really good around shallow vegetation. It goes through the cover well. And so what I'm doing is looking for these little holes in the grass, little lanes that I can throw it through. And it's a pretty visual strike. I'm keeping it up. And anytime I come across, you know, some of this loose grass or the jig gets snagged up, I'll shake my rod tip. And I'll give it a little shake every now and again. I mean, a lot of them eat it on a steady swim. But, you know, I basically will shake that rod to kind of free it from the cover. So I'm keeping my rod tip up and just kind of bouncing it, letting it fall back down. You know, when I get in the hole in the grass, I'll kind of let it flutter a little bit just to give him a little bit more time to see it.
Sure.
Stays in the strike zone a little bit. But yeah, just casting, reeling, and popping it through the cover a little bit. But they really wanted this 1/2 ounce. It's kind of a chore to fish through some of this real thick stuff, just because of the weight keeps it bogged down. But that size was the key for me. And it might have just been a confidence deal. It's what I started catching them on in practice. And I experimented a couple days of practice with other jigs and just didn't have nearly the success.
Sure.
You're kidding. Give me your rod.
Look, I'm just gonna chalk it up to the fact that I had a really good teacher today,
Hey,
right?
I'm mad
I
at
had good equipment. This old hair lip, he's been caught before.
you. Retread action.
Again, another fatty. And I think with that one there, Casey,
You gonna wrap it
I
up?
thought you loaded up. I think we should get going. We're also literally
hot.
right next to the boat.
And I'm ready for lunch. We're here, ready to load up. That's a good one to end on.
Dude, amazing ending to the season. Awesome tournament. Super cool storyline. And I'm pumped to see you at Hamilton in August. Safe travels home, man.
Thanks, Kyle. It was a pleasure having you in the boat. Hopefully we get to do this again sometime.
I dig it.